When you hear the word Chernobyl, what comes to mind? Probably science, politics, right? Well, today, we're going to push all of that aside. We're going to hear a different story, the human one. We're not just looking at this as some historical event. No, this is about living memory, told through the words of the people who actually lived it.
Yeah, this quote, it just cuts right to the heart of it all, doesn't it? The explosion back in '86, that wasn't the end of the story. For so many people, it was just the beginning of a lifelong, brutal battle. So you see, this isn't really a story about a place. It's a story about its people.
Okay, so let's go right back to the very first minutes after the explosion at Reactor 4. When you hear the words from those first emergency calls, you can literally feel the chaos, the confusion of a disaster that was just completely, utterly unimaginable.
You can hear it, right? The panic, the urgency. But listen to that one critical line. There are people there. In that single moment, duty just took over. Firefighters were sent out thinking they were heading to a simple roof fire. They had no idea they were walking into the heart of a nuclear meltdown.
Under 5 minutes. Think about that. Less than 5 minutes to get to the scene. Can you even imagine racing towards a reactor that's literally glowing with absolutely no idea about the invisible poison just pouring into the air? And they tried to fight it. A nuclear fire with water. Their gear offered basically no protection at all.
The testimony here, it's just brutally final. Every single person, every one of those first responders who ran into that blaze, they were doomed the second they got there. Their sacrifice, without a doubt, saved so many other lives, but for them, it cost them absolutely everything.
So in the days that followed, while those first heroes were dying horrific deaths, a totally different kind of enemy was spreading. And this one was invisible. It was silent. And because of this official wall of silence, of deception, millions of people were just left, living, breathing, and playing in the fallout.
And here's the truly horrifying part. Reality was hidden behind everyday things. People saw stuff, sure, but they explained it away. Oh, that strange foam? They're just washing the streets. Wow, look at that beautiful snow-like stuff falling from the sky. That yellow film on the puddles? It's just pollen. They had no clue. Absolutely no clue. They were watching their own destruction unfold.
And this is the real terror of Chernobyl. You know, one of the liquidators said it perfectly. In a normal war, you can see your enemy. But here, your enemy has no taste, no smell, no color. You can't see it. It's inside you. It's all around you. Just this silent, slow process of being taken apart from the inside out.
It's staggering. The truth didn't come from their own government, no. The world found out because Sweden, hundreds of miles away, detected the radiation cloud. So for days, while this catastrophe was unfolding, the people living right there, in its shadow, were told absolutely nothing.
All right, so that brings us to the next chapter, the cleanup. And let me tell you, this is one of the most harrowing parts of the entire story. Because when all the advanced technology failed, when it was crushed by impossible levels of radiation, the authorities turned to their very last resort, people. The calculation they made was, well, it was as simple as it was terrifying. Okay, so the most radioactive place on the planet was the reactor roof. It was covered in chunks of the core. So first they sent in these high-tech robots, right? But the radiation was so insane, it just fried their electronics. The machines were useless. So what was the only solution left? You guessed it, human beings. The men who were sent to do this, they even got a new name for themselves, biorobots. It's a chilling word, isn't it? But that's really how they saw themselves. They were the living tool, the organic machine brought in when the metal ones broke down. They were sent to do a job that a machine literally could not do.
800. Just let that number sink in. 800 men every single day sent onto the most dangerous spot on the entire planet. They had these crude, handmade lead aprons, and they got 90 seconds, sometimes not even that. Just enough time to run out, heave one shovelful of radioactive graphite off the roof, and run back, all while absorbing a dose of radiation that should take a lifetime to accumulate.
And this quote, it just nails the experience. We were just living material. These men, they were drafted from all over the Soviet Union. They felt like they were just raw material being fed into a machine. Their only job was to fix this immediate terrible problem. Nobody was thinking about what the consequences would be for them years down the road, or even days later. Okay, let's talk about the city of Pripyat.
This wasn't some old village. It was a modern, thriving city, built specifically for the power plant workers and their families. It was like a Soviet dream town. And then, in just a few hours, it became a ghost town forever.
Get this, a full day and a half, 36 hours went by after the explosion before anyone even announced an evacuation. And when that order finally came, the city's 50,000 people were given 2 hours. 2 hours. That's it. 2 hours to pack up their lives and say goodbye to everything they'd ever known.
And the official announcement, it was so calm, so bureaucratic, and so deceptive. They called it a temporary evacuation. They told everyone, you'll be back in 3 days. Now this was to stop people from panicking, but it was a flat-out lie. Nobody was ever coming back. And because they believed it, pets were left behind, family photos, memories, entire lives just abandoned in a flash.
One survivor put it this way: her life was just split in two. There was before Chernobyl and there was after. And the trauma, it wasn't just about losing your home. It was this deep, profound confusion of being herded onto a bus with no idea where you're even going. Your past is just gone, and you have absolutely no clue what your future holds.
And that brings us to the final part of our story, the legacy. Because the real story of Chernobyl, you see, isn't about what ended in 1986. It's about everything that has continued every single day since. The sickness, the mental scars, the ghosts that still haunt the survivors.
Just listen to this. One doctor talked about the impossible choices they had to make. In one night, just one, she performed 36 abortions on women who had been exposed. She called it a crime, but she also said it was necessary. The radiation had already caused such severe defects.
And this memory from a nurse, it's almost too much to bear. It really speaks to the trauma that the caregivers themselves carried. Imagine watching these young, strong men die in absolute agony and just knowing there was nothing you could do to save them.
So this is the legacy that lasts. It's so layered and it feels like it will never end. You've got the lifelong illnesses that the liquidators are still fighting today. You've got the trauma that gets passed down through generations. It's that awful feeling of being a hero who's been completely forgotten. And it's that deep personal guilt, like a husband forever wondering if one small choice he made is why his wife died years later.
And so, at the end of all this, we're left with a question. The story of Chernobyl is this stark, brutal reminder that when our systems fail, when the truth is hidden, the price isn't paid by governments or committees. It's paid by ordinary people, by firefighters, doctors, teachers, children, the people whose lives were shattered into two pieces, a before and an after.